Hi all, and welcome to week 2 of my tribute to silent cinema this month. This week we're covering possibly our most important discussion in my chat, the discussion of Birth of a Nation. This film is based off controversial novels The Klansman and The Leopard's Spots by Thomas Dixon, a Baptist minister, playwright, lawyer, and author. Both Dixon and D.W. Griffith, the film's director, were brought up during the Reconstruction period in the South. Both had families served in the Confederate Army. Birth of a Nation depicts the Civil War and the Reconstruction of the South, told from the perspective and sympathy of the Confederate white people, and sympathy towards the development of white supremacist group, the Ku Klux Klan, that rescues the helpless white people from the black people taking over their city. The film depicts African Americans and horrific stereotypes, and the main black characters are white people in blackface. Despite the controversies, the film ended up being one of the highest grossing films of all time, and also generated the negative reactions from people, especially the black community. The film runs around 3 hours long, and it's basically 2 parts. The Civil War and the Reconstruction period. I chose this film because even though the film is incredibly offensive, I think everybody should watch it once and have a discussion on it. So enjoy the film, and I'll talk more about it after you've seen it. Also, before I go, Birth of a Nation can be viewed online or on TCM on Monday, November 8th at 9:15 p.m. The film also stars Lillian Gish as Elsie Stoneman, Mae Marsh as Flora Cameron, Henry Walthall as Ben Cameron, aka the Little Colonel, and Marion Cooper as Margaret Cameron. Elmer Clifton, Donald Crisp, Raoul Walsh, and supposedly John Ford were also in this film. D.W. Griffith also spent $110,000 for this film, which was way over the budget of the original $40,000. Also, there was no written script for this film, so D.W. Griffith told it through his head, pretty much. So I hope you enjoy the film, and I'll be back for post-discussion. Hi, I'm back again, and I'm ready to talk a little bit more about Birth of a Nation. For me, it's one of the most offensive films I've ever seen, and it's sad that D.W. Griffith, for all of his talent, chose a historically inaccurate story that made the KKK out to be heroes for saving the white population from a black takeover of the South. The film shows black people as dumb, walking like apes, corrupt, lazy, and sexual predators, like the Gus character who chases after Mae Marsh's character, and the mulatto Mr. Silas Lynch who goes after Lillian Gish's character. I also found it interesting that there's no black character that takes a leadership role. The all-black soldiers that invade the South Carolina town towards the beginning of the war are controlled by a white leader. Mr. Silas Lynch is half white and half black, and takes leadership in the corruption of the city during Reconstruction, but he's not considered fully black, so I just found that interesting that there's like no full black characters that take leadership roles. Obviously, technically the film is outstanding in its incredible parallel editing sequences, especially towards the end with the cross-cutting of 5 different situations going on at the same time towards the end. The effects were top-notch with the bright red tinting during the KKK sequences and the fire sequences, the smoke bombs during the battle sequences. But other than technical achievements, this film is very hard to watch for its portrayal of African Americans. Also, the heroics of the KKK and the historical inaccuracies of the time period also make it hard to watch. Unfortunately, the character that most pissed me off was Elaine Guiche's character Elsie, who starts off as a Yankee opposed to the Confederate ideas and opposed to the KKK, but then manages to sympathize with the KKK towards the end, and happily marches in a parade with her KKK lover. Her older brother, who fought for the Union, ends up doing the same thing by marrying the eldest daughter of the Confederate family at the end because the KKK ends up saving them. So it's a weird feeling when watching the film because you don't want anybody to get harmed in the war or in the conflict. At the same time, I can't root for, the KKK, who in like one disturbing scene lynches the Gus character without a proper fair trial and dumps the body on the doorstep of Mr. Silas Lynch. The lynching is done because Gus tried to rape the girl, who ends up committing suicide by jumping off the ledge. Overall, I couldn't watch this film nor recommend it to you guys without also reviewing another film that came as a response to Birth, titled Within Our Gates, made in 1920 and directed by African-American filmmaker Oscar Micheaux. Within Our Gates is a film told by an all-black cast that was made in response to Griffith's film, filmed 4 years earlier. It depicts more complex African-American characters and also features a lynching and a rape sequence that is done by the white Southerners, but it's unjustified in this film, opposed to Birth of a Nation, where the filmmaker tries to justify the lynching. It is strongly suspected that the original cut does not survive, and that the film that we do watch, the version that we do watch, is not its original cut. Due to several recuts the film had to go through during its release, which was controversial. In Chicago, the film had to be recut due to the race riots that had gone on earlier. The film was eventually lost mysteriously during the 1920s and resurfaced in the 1980s and was thankfully restored. My favorite character in the film is a black preacher who appears to be another Uncle Tom type, but then literally behind closed doors reveals that he really doesn't believe what he preaches. I found that a very powerful moment in the movie. So I urge everyone to check out both films, Within Our Gates and Birth of a Nation. Within Our Gates will air on Tuesday, November 9th on TCM at 12:30 a.m. after Birth of a Nation. If you don't have TCM, both films are on YouTube, I believe, and I will post part 1 of Within Our Gates along with part 1 of a very fascinating 1-hour documentary on Oscar Micheaux. I hope you enjoy Within Our Gates and Birth of a Nation, and you come to the discussion on November 11th at 9:30 p.m. Pacific Time to have what I consider one of the most interesting discussions in my chat room. And I guess I'll see you next week for a less controversial topic, which is Mary Pickford. So I hope you enjoy the movies, and I hope you enjoy the intro and the discussion of this video. And tell me what you think about it, and I will try and post some updates on my website. So I will see you this week, and I hope you guys catch both movies, and I'll do trivia again. So I hope that you guys have fun with it. So see you later. Bye.